Hey, it's Miss Cole again. There was something that crossed my Facebook feed somewhat recently that got me to thinking, so I figured I'd share it with you. So this is the post that was shared by a friend of mine. Dear kids who are starting band for the first time, instruments don't have gender. If you are a boy and you want to play flute, do it. If you are a girl and you want to play tuba, do it. No one can tell you that since you are a boy, you have to play saxophone, trumpet, or another instrument like that. Or since you are a girl, you have to play flute, clarinet, or some instrument like that. Play whatever you want to. No one can tell you otherwise. The thing is, it's not that simple. So, this was my reply as a comment on the post that my friend shared. People can and will tell you that you can or should play certain things based on gender. Be ready for that. Be ready for people to make assumptions about your gender presentation and or your sexuality. And even if nobody says it directly, be ready to feel uncomfortable because of being way outnumbered, if not the only one. Be ready to be known not as a band member or as one of the trombone players, but as the girl who plays trombone. If you're really, really lucky, you won't experience any of this. But chances are unfortunately high that you'll run into some of it from time to time, possibly all of it if you're particularly unlucky. So think about what you can do in those situations before you're confronted with them. Build support, develop answers to questions, and smart aleck remarks that hopefully you'll never hear. And play what you want. So I posted that, like I said, as a comment on his shared post, but even that just begins to scratch the surface of the issue. It came to mind again when I finally got to watch the new live-action Mulan for the first time. Of course, the theme of defying stereotypes is all throughout the story, but it really smacked me across the face in the opening voiceover, thanks to amazing work by the actor who played Mulan's father, Zima. He talks about what it's like to raise a daughter who does not behave in expected or acceptable ways, struggling with how best to prepare her for the world beyond her family. Reflecting on this, he asks, if you had such a daughter with Chi, the boundless energy of life itself speaking through her every motion, could you tell her that only a son could wield Chi? That a daughter would risk shame, dishonor, exile? The mixture of apology, resignation, and even pride in his voice when he answers himself, ancestors, I could not, is absolutely masterful. You see, each of us is an individual, and yet, in addition to that, each of us is a social being. We benefit from living in community with others, and when we are denied that, we suffer. Well, part of being social creatures means interacting with others who, like us, are also individuals, and who are likely to have experiences, preferences, and opinions that do not completely match ours. And that means judgment. Whether it's a sidelong glance, muffled laughter, or something more severe. So it's important to learn to navigate the balance between asserting individuality and supporting community. Because this isn't something that only happens during your angsty teenage years. Awkward family gatherings are a staple of holiday movies, and while those situations might be exaggerated, they have their roots in reality. The challenge, then, is to find a way to live authentically while still taking others into consideration and acting in kindness. One situation in which I feel out of place personally is that I have been through diagnosis and treatment for breast cancer. It's not something I talk about a lot because my experience was different from the majority of patients. I was quite young when I was first diagnosed, and I was incredibly fortunate that the cancer was at a very early stage. People's reaction when they find out is often, "Oh, that must have been terrible." And it feels kind of weird to tell them that, no, actually, it was a good thing that I was diagnosed that young because it meant we caught the disease early enough that treatment didn't have to be as harsh as it would have been otherwise. Plus, I was in good health, in no small part thanks to my youth. But I feel like I have to be really careful about this because I certainly don't want to give the impression that breast cancer isn't actually a really serious disease. Because, it is. And it's relatively common, which means that most people know somebody who's been through it, or even someone who's died of it. At the same time, I don't want to present my own experience as something other than what it was or what it is. It's important to me to be honest, as well as compassionate. That's actually a central phrase in my second favorite Bible verse, chapter 4, verse 15 of Paul's letter to the Ephesians. The funny thing is, speaking the truth in love isn't even a command given to the members of that church. It's just like a given. And it's also not something that a person does. It's something that we all do in our interactions with each other, together. That's not to say that it's easy. It's a variety of skills that interconnect. It means recognizing ways in which you're different from others. It means considering their needs and their feelings. And it means thinking before you speak and before you act, which is probably the hardest part. And it also means sort of synthesizing all of this and evaluating the best way to respond as a result. It's not easy, but it's possible. And the times when it works, when you can be authentically yourself while still having strong, healthy connections with others, that's when you feel like you're where you belong. So those are my thoughts on that. I hope they were of some use to you, and I hope you're doing well. Take care, everybody. Bye for now.